You are now listening to Femme Regard Podcast with Tessa Markle
and Carolina Alvarez.
Femme.
Welcome back, Femme Fam. Thank you, as always, for being our loyal listeners. And we have another fantastic guest for you today who we found on Instagram, like so many of our guests. Like, this is so exciting.
Yes.
It's also super exciting because our guest today is already a listener of our show, which, I mean, of course, that's just exciting that people are listening to the show. But to hear great feedback that she's enjoying it and she's learning from it and being inspired, like that means the world to us. So, Carolina, would you like to introduce her?
Yes. Today, Femme Fam, we have Femme Queen Katrina Cebreiro. She is on. She is Latina. She is everything we want in the world. So, Katrina, she's a film director. She's also award-winning filmmaker and finalist in Sundance. And I'm just so excited to hear about your journey, Katrina, as a filmmaker and being a woman in this industry, leading the way. We love that. And we're here to support that. And let's just start off and hear about why did you fall into this world? Why do you love filmmaking and what got you started to begin with?
Yeah, so I got started when I was really young. My dad brought home a video camera. So I started taking that. He would let me take that for some reason. It was like really expensive and we didn't like grow up with a lot of money. But he would like let me take that and I would get all the friends, all the kids in the neighborhood and I would gather them up and like start putting them in roles. I was already like directing it and pretty bossy. Like, and then they would, like, it's funny because it's like all on tape and we were watching it like the other day because we're in quarantine. And I'm like, I take it so seriously. All the kids are all laughing. I'm like, hey, stop. Like, take down a business. I took it so seriously. It was so funny.
I love that. No, it takes a certain person. Like you got to have a certain like way about you. Not everyone can direct and fulfill the producer position. Tess and I talk about that all the time. Like it takes a certain personality. So that's awesome. Like already at a young age, like you're calling the shots. I love that.
Yeah. And then, you go to high school and you're more worried about just trying to survive socially. So, I put that behind. And then when I got back to college, I started relearning it and reinvesting in that again. And then I got like an internship. It was really hard to get an internship, just being around this area, Orange County, LA, just because the internships are like really hard to get just because they're like Conan and just number two news station in LA is in the country. So I ended up moving to Palm Springs and working at a news station there as an intern.
Wow.
And then I was able to get other internships. So then I started working at Conan, as I said, yeah. And then after that, I graduated college and I got hired at TMZ as a production assistant. And then I just started working in the industry from there.
That's such a cool route. I mean, that's definitely like a journey I don't think we've heard yet on this show. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I started working on just different. I worked everywhere. I worked at Warner Brothers. I worked for a talent agency, and then got into the feature film world with Noam. So I feel like that was my first indie feature film, which is so crazy because I've been working prior in the industry for such a long time at that point, maybe 5 years. I'm like, how is this taking me so long to get in this world,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, listeners, in case you didn't listen to our interview with Noam, I think it was season 3, Tessa, that we had Noam Kroll and talking about the psychological, psychology behind film and his journey. And it's so crazy that we already decided, Katrina, that we wanted you on the show. And right before we asked, I saw your post that you had done, I think, a producer role with Noam on his film, I'm going to say it wrong. I always say it wrong. Cytosynthesis. Psychosynthesis.
And we'll hashtag it in the show notes, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, we'll do that. And I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. We have this community here, and everyone has it's awesome to see the filmmakers that we know have worked together or are working together or will work together. That's our I love seeing that. So that's really cool. We had no idea until recently, and I was like, oh my God, she's worked with him, because we love him. He's awesome. He's an awesome dude.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I also met him through social media, and I think I emailed. I was the one that emailed him because I was following his blog, and I just loved. He was just.
It's
I just
awesome.
love the way that he blogged. Like he just the questions that you have in your mind, he like knows it and just like lays it out in this format. And I just been following it for a while. And yeah, he's amazing. He's just so he's so compassionate and supportive for up and coming filmmakers that he supported me and brought me on the project.
That's
awesome.
amazing. I want to take it back a little. Oh, sorry, Tessa. You comment and then I'll take it back.
I just wanted to say real quickly, like you said, that how many people in our community know each other. I love the fact that and I've been seeing it more and more, all of our guests talk about, of course, find your tribe and everything like that. But like, because so many of our guests we're getting to know through social media, for example, it's amazing how many people are already connected or trying to be connected. I mean, like when we had Michael Rabayo on the show, a friend of mine, Deneen, was like, wait, how do you know Michael? Like, we've been trying to do something together forever. It's such a small world, and it's amazing. Like it's so cool, and it's so inspirational. And, I hope more of our guests get to interact as well.
Yeah.
So, just a little tangent.
Yeah, it's just really exciting. And I love the community. And like, that's how also I want to get to meet more filmmakers through the show. It's just because it's, who knows, like we can all work together one day, I love that. So I want to take it back, Katrina, because something else that I was fascinated about with your journey. So that I didn't know all that backstory, like what you went through schooling wise and intern wise and work wise. But to take it back to your education, so you got your MFA in screenwriting. I just want to talk about that real quick. Like, why did you decide to do that? And where'd you go? And what you felt that was important for you? Because not everyone does that, and it's accomplishment. So congrats. And tell us about that.
Yeah. So I went to, I got my undergrad at Cal State Fullerton in film production. And then that's when I stopped interning and I started working at TMZ right away. And then TMZ, I was really excited and it was a really cool experience, but it also was like, wait, this isn't what I exactly want to do. Sometimes you get sidetracked with other things in the industry and it's just like, wait, I'll get to that eventually. I'll get to my dreams and goals eventually. But it's like you realize that you have to do it now because of people that were training me and that's been there forever. They're like, oh, I wanted to be a screenwriter. I'm like, well, that could be me in 5 years, if I don't go and do it, because you do get stuck sometimes.
And no, I think that's really important that you mentioned that, because a common thread that I've been hearing throughout all of our speakers is that, there's so many roles and there's so many steps to get to so many roles. So you really have to start to think about at a certain point, what is it that I really want to do in the part of and be a part of in the industry. So I love that you mentioned that too. Yeah.
And then that's what made me quit. I put in my 2 weeks and I quit and I went to applied to grad school. So wow. And then I got in. It was at Cal State Fullerton as well. And it was in screenwriting. And I just learned so much. I think it's so beneficial. I know you don't necessarily need it to be a, qualified or screenwriter or anything like that. But I think it's so beneficial because you're forced to write, you're given these assignments. So you kind of just, because you think initially your genre or whatever your niche might be is something else. And then you kind of learn it through trial and error in school, because you get to workshop your scripts. The teacher, we all read it out loud. The teachers give feedback. You get feedback from the students. And I think it was really beneficial to help me hone my screenwriting craft and learn about the craft. So there would be classes about genre, and there would be classes about different styles. And we took a TV comedy class, a TV drama class, feature film class. And then, and the teachers that we got were, because it's Cal State Fullerton, people think this too, because it's so cool to spill this, because people think if you go to a top school is the best way to go to school. So it's like UCLA, USC, or just top film schools like that. But because I went to Cal State Fullerton, we got sometimes we get the better teachers, because to be a teacher at USC and UCLA, teachers have to go through a lot of credentials, and it's just a lot harder to get hired. And they're also working in the industry. So they go to Cal State Fullerton, which is easier for them to work and still work in the industry. So we sometimes get the better teachers so my teacher was Bob Ingalls, who worked with Twin Peaks with,
Yeah.
and then
Tessa loves Twin Peaks. So
Yeah.
he worked in Twin Peaks, and he was one of the showrunners and worked with, what is his name? David Lynch, right?
David Lynch.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, and then Joel Selbo, who worked with George Lucas. She was one of his writers. So it's just like, and all these teachers that works currently in the field too today. And they're like one of my contacts and stuff. And I'll send them my scripts and they'll give me feedback. So it was a really awesome experience. I definitely don't regret it, but it does take 2 years of your life. But I mean, you're going to get better as a screenwriter when you start writing anyways. So it's like,
so you've been, it wasn't like a 2 years of not working on something that, you wanted to move forward with. Like, that's not a waste of your time. Like, you just, if anything, you're getting better and finding your voice, and like, strengthening that skill set. So it definitely sounds like the right thing if you want to pursue like being a writer and filmmaker,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Because the story is everything. We talk about that a lot. Without the story, there's no film. And there's no money, honestly, because people will invest if you have the story.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we've learned too at this point, there's no right way to do it. Like, this is one industry that you can go to school, you don't have to go to school. Like, there's no right way to pursue it. So I think really it's just kind of what each individual person gets out of their path. Like for you felt like going to school and getting your master's was the best way to do it. And everything that it sounds like you've gotten from it, like, makes total sense. You know what I mean? So I think that's such a cool thing about our industry to begin with. And just a reminder to our listeners, like, there is no right or wrong. It's whatever path suits you the best.
Yeah. And sometimes that can be daunting. You're like, oh my God, all these paths, like, which one do I follow? How do I even get in the industry? But I think sometimes it's also kind of a relief. Like, you don't have to go one certain path. If maybe working your way up isn't it, you can create your own projects and try that way. There's just so many different ways. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I agree. Talk to us about the Sundance film and what that experience was to become a finalist. I'm always curious about, these bigger film festivals, and that's like that's a big deal,
Yeah. So I had this idea for a script. It just like came to me. I wrote it. It's in first person and on a script. So that was like really different. I wasn't sure. Like, I was like really doubtful of even sending it. I was like, I just wasted $40. That's what I thought when I sent it in, and I really didn't think I was going to hear back. And it's so crazy because it's like, I don't know why sometimes things work that way. It's just like sometimes you're like, oh, this is good. This is going to for sure, and it doesn't. And then other times you're like, no, this is shit. Like, I don't know what I'm thinking. And then it does. So it's like, so what the heck. But yeah, I didn't think it was really going to go anywhere. I submitted it, and I got a lot of positive feedback with that. That definitely helped me with some opportunities in the future. But and also I did write it. It was called Donald Glover. It was about a celebrity, so that's like was also really different. So I was like, I don't know, this is so weird. I don't know, but I just did it. It was just about the protagonist was a writer, and her and Donald had a connection prior, like years in the entertainment industry before he made it, and then he made it, and she wants to reconnect with him and stuff like that. And I would get a lot of questions. People always ask me, was this a true story? Did this happen? And I used to leave it a mystery. I used to just be like, I don't know, I don't want to, because either way, I feel like if it didn't happen, then I kill it. If it did happen, then it's weird,
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. It wasn't true. It was totally made up. It's just like, just an idea I had, so.
That's awesome. That's a fun idea. And I love that you like kept the mystery alive like that. Just got to add to it too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so it definitely goes to show you, like, Sundance definitely wants different content. I think because it was so different in the way that I wrote in first person, and then maybe it was original using like a real life celebrity, but also I didn't get in, so I don't really know. But I did look up what scripts did get in, and Sundance is really big on racism, sexism, sexuality, and things like that. So those are the projects that got in.
I think like what I'm starting to find out more about film festivals is they do want unique stuff. They want stuff that hasn't, really at least hasn't gotten out to the public from their festivals yet, if that makes sense. Topics like that, but also it's fads, every year or every few years or whatever, the hot button topics change, their tastes change. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's really just following kind of what they're doing.
Yeah, you're right. And it's also like, you just got to go with what you feel passionate about too,
Absolutely.
I guess trying to follow the trends isn't really a good idea either, because sometimes you could be behind and then you're not really writing something you're passionate about. You're just trying to get into something, so.
Hey, Femme Fam. How many of you are podcasters yourself or interested in keeping up with the rapidly growing podcast world?
There's so much to learn and keep up with, but we have just the way to do it.
Join the PodMov community. We get their daily newsletter delivered to our inbox, connect through the private Facebook group, and are even featured in their June 15th, 2020 issue.
They even have a huge annual summit for podcasters to network, learn, and perfect their craft.
If you're not convinced yet, just subscribe and try it out anyway, because guess what? It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time.
Use this link so they know we sent you. Don't worry, I'll read it off now, but we'll also type it out in our show notes for you to copy and paste. And it is podcastmovement.com/subscribe MWR =2EFF8BBA.
We'll see you in the Facebook group, or even better, at the summit.
So are you, I know you have listed that, you direct and obviously you produce and all of these things aside from screenwriting. Do you see yourself just continuing to do all of it? Is there something you wanted to concentrate on more to get more experience with, or something you want to try that you haven't yet in the filmmaking world?
I definitely just want to focus on directing and writing. That's my ultimate dream. I did do acting like many years ago, and I'm glad that I did. I'm not a talented actress at all, but I just can relate to the actors so much more, because it's so, when you're watching from afar, you just think it's easy, you can do that, or just a very naive thought. But when you're in the position and everything's like, everybody's looking at you, everyone's waiting for you, you got to evoke these emotions, you realize how hard it is, and then you can just have compassion for that. And then just learning different techniques in acting class, I can use that as, like the acting teachers, how they would direct the actors to performance. I can use those techniques in my directing. So it was beneficial, but yeah, acting is so tough. I was at an agency too, and I just have so much respect for actors.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing that you bring up, like understanding the relationship between actor and director from both sides. Like I took a class, another Twin Peaks connection. The teachers were Cheryl Lee, who played Laurel Palmer in Twin Peaks, and Gary Hirschberger, who played Mike. But they teach a class, and it was awesome. They taught a class called the Actor's Director, and it puts like actors in the director's chair and directors in the actor's position so that they can see what the other needs and how to work with the other one. And I think it is so important, especially for people starting out, to realize like what it takes on the other side, no matter what side they're on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's awesome, because then the actors can learn what it takes to be a director, because as a director, you want to cater to your actors and you want to give them adjustments in a receivable way. So it's kind of can be a struggle initially when you're learning to direct and getting better at it. You just want to say it in a good way that doesn't come, in a receivable way. So it's like, it's for actors to learn that as well. They at least can be like, okay, support each other in that way, So that's awesome. That's a really cool class. Would you guys switch in the class? Like some would be actors, someone would be directors, and then switch?
Yeah, totally. Like, we got the chance to bring in scenes if anybody was a writer and had their own or anything like that. And we also did a lot of like neutral scenes. So there wasn't really a story behind it. It was just kind of lines so that the director could choose what they wanted to do. And yeah, we all just kind of switched places and got to do it from both sides. And then they, guided us and gave us notes and all that kind of thing. So it was really awesome and very hands-on, which I love too.
That's awesome. Are you guys, I know I've listened to your podcast and you kind of said, but you guys are predominantly actors, but you doing the filmmaking thing too, because you got to create your own content, that's awesome to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious about, what your guys' ultimate goal was. I'm switching it on you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, yeah, that's how we both started. I personally do want to concentrate on acting specifically. But Carolina, I mean, she's fallen in love with the whole other side of it.
Yeah, it's been great. Like I always see it like have stories come to me and I always get really excited. And Tessa's always like, Carolyn, we need to focus on one thing. And I'm like, that's right. That's why you're my partner. Acting has been the thing I've done the longest and I love the most, of course. But I've fallen in love. I love the whole craft and I love that we can make our own work and have the ability to do that. And so that's what we're doing here. And I am excited to have these stories come to life. It's like giving birth to a baby.
It is.
Not quite. Well, actually, no. There's some similarities. There's a whole process. But when you get to, I'm excited for the day that I can be like, oh my God, like, yes, this story came through. And like, I am so proud of it because it is like something you can't really explain. But when you get to see it on the screen, it's like really rewarding too, I think. And the lives that you can touch with it or like the emotions you can, everyone can feel. That's what I love about art. And that's what I love about acting. You do the same thing on stage and on cinema. It's that connection, human connection that we can all share. And I think it's so important and beautiful that we can do that.
Yeah. We all got to work together on a project and feeling it.
I am too. So tell us, Katrina, like, this is your job interview all of a sudden. So I'm taking notes, guys. What stories are you focusing on or like what are you passionate about like directing? Because we have a little like fun niche that we're in and it's like almost hidden over what other topics that we bring about because we love like for me and Tessa personally, period pieces and like but also like having fun. Like I realize it's kind of like the femme fatale thing is just like female sexual expression. So that's where I think that's the through line for me and like what that means and as a woman, what that means to me and like how that expresses like itself through film. So yes, there's like a genre or a world that you like feel like that you connect with the most and like live in.
Yeah. So the genres, I definitely hop around with genres. Yeah, I love like drama and adding comedy bits to it just because I love the comedic relief and I feel like sometimes just being straight drama is exhausting for an audience and just adding some comedy relief, tension relief there. But definitely what I've noticed lately that all my stories are really surrounded is strong relationship stories. So it could be like boyfriend, girlfriend is usually like that kind of romance. Also like father-daughter. It's just like relationship stories and the struggle of relationships. So yeah, I'm like, dang, I really just focus on relationships like a lot. But I love that you have that niche because I definitely think that stories need to be told to.
And the noir I'm working on is totally a relationship story. It's like the boyfriend and girlfriend and like some the female pressures we get like sometimes in an unfortunately an abusive setting at times that like could be verbal, it could be like more than that and we have those pressures and sometimes you don't know it's happening, especially when you're in love,
Yes, especially when you're living in the moment. It's only in hindsight that you realize
exactly
like, what was I doing this whole time. But and the last two stories in the future film that I'm going to work on is going to be focused on the last short film was focused on addiction And I wanted to expand on that in the feature film, but I kind of want to focus instead of on the addiction that's there, but I want to focus on like a toxic relationship about between this boyfriend and girlfriend. So, because I just feel like toxic relationships haven't been explored enough. Like, why do two people stay together that really have so many issues? I just want to focus on what we're and stuff. So I'm excited about that. But
it's an important topic and one that we're trying to infuse in this film too. And like, I don't want it to be marginalized is the right word. Just like, oh my God, here's like this crazy abusive thing. Cause it's still a noir, so it can be heightened. So I'm trying to play with the right balance. Cause sometimes it's subtler than you think, and that's also key. It's like these subtle things that happen, and that's why you don't notice it too, like amidst everything.
Yeah. Sometimes you're like, okay, I don't want to keep hitting the nail on the what's the saying? Because you don't want to keep just mentioning it once or twice could be enough. So you don't want to like overdo it. So sometimes it's hard to find that balance. On topics like that,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like talking about mental health in media right now. It's important to normalize it, and talk about it in a way that it's just part of the conversation instead of the entire conversation revolving around it, and I think that's, important for anything like this, because so many people are in toxic relationships or have been in toxic relationships. Like, it is a very, very common thing. And for us to be able to normalize that and talk about it, comfortably, not be afraid to talk about it. Like, that's super important. It's definitely a story that needs to be told.
Yeah, Katrina, like keep us in the loop with your projects for sure. We want to know about them. We're here to support them and like share each other's work. I'm really, again, so happy we can connect on this level and like hear what, that's why it's important to know what stories we're working on and why we're working on them. And I'm glad that you feel that way, about those stories in particular too. It's important.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And as far as keeping us in the loop, keep our listeners in the loop as well, and let them know where they can find your work and how they can keep up with what you're doing, all that stuff.
So they can find my work on my website. It's my first and last name, KatrinaCebreiro.com. And then you can find me on Instagram. I love connecting with people through social media, because I feel like as opposed to because you guys have been in the entertainment industry as well, we've all been to those events to network, to get to know people, to build our, roster of just people that we know. And I feel like those connections are never as genuine because it's in person and you have to do the formal, like, hi, how are you?
Right.
But it's really like, hey, like, it's just like, can you do for me? What can I do for you? And it's like, that's weird. Like, I don't want to, to go that way. So I feel like social media is almost, you can connect more genuinely because you have all your stuff in your social media. When you contact people, it's more direct. It's not the fluff. And then it comes off in genuine because, the fluff is just there. So I don't know. I love connecting with people on social media. So definitely find me at Master Contender. Maybe you could put it in the show notes. So
we will. We will tag. Yeah, it'll be everywhere. Guys, follow her. I love her page. We actually highlighted, I think, on our intro to this season, because you do awesome like videos with interviews and like how-tos. You have the IGTV set up. We love that. So definitely, guys, you should check her out because her stuff's bomb.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Katrina, so much for coming on today. And thank you, listeners, as always. We are almost done with the season. So, guys, get excited because we'll have another one coming out to you real soon. But before then, we've got another guest. So we will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to Femme Regard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in next time for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals over tea.
We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. If you leave us a great comment, we might give you a shout out on the show. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.